Let's talk Metaverse graphics, because I've been getting a fair few comments on my Exploring Decentraland and Horizon Worlds videos where people are talking about how bad they are. And while I don't entirely disagree, I do have some thoughts. Thought number one, they're not bad, they're just low poly. When I explored Horizon Worlds, it was obvious it has a very intentional art style, and that's this clean, colourful, minimal, low poly look. And it seems to achieve its objective because everything feels very cohesive. So what do we mean when we say bad graphics? I would argue that graphics are an art form and art is subjective. So for example, what one person sees as an ugly looking game, somebody else sees as a beautiful game. Basic graphics does not equal bad graphics. Just look at Minecraft. The best-selling video game of all time has incredibly basic graphics. So why even make a metaverse platform low poly? That leads me on to thought two, performance. The objective of the metaverse is not to compete with AAA games, at least not right now. It's competing with social media. So graphics aren't top priority, users are. Lots of users. Metaverses are intended to be vast worlds that can accommodate a lot of people, and those people are going to have hardware of varying specifications. So you don't want to alienate a huge section of your potential audience because they can't even run the platform. But I imagine this will just improve over time as those minimum specifications go up, so should the visual quality. Right now, the metaverse just needs users, and that includes middle-aged mums who really not going to mind if the worlds don't have real-time ray tracing or photorealistic objects. They're just going to care that their friends are on the platform too. Thought number three, ease of creation. The success of the metaverse relies in part on user-generated content, and in my previous video it became clear to me that this basic art style makes it a lot easier for creators to get started building worlds. You're working with basic 3D shapes, applying block colors, and selecting from a limited palette of textures. So this means that somebody with no prior experience in 3D environment building or 3D modeling can get started making worlds really quickly. Thought number four, it's just better in VR. What you see in my YouTube videos is just a fraction of the overall experience. When you're immersed in the environment, you have spatial audio, there are users to interact with, the low poly look is really not a deal breaker. Thought number five, great graphics too soon could be a bad thing. In Thrillseeker's recent video where he tested the Vario XR3 headset, it showcased how too much realism in VR can be kind of uncomfortable and disorienting for the user, so maybe we're not ready for that just yet. As I've said already, what the metaverse needs is users, and VR is going to be a brand new experience for most people. So better to ease them in gradually than to put them off immediately by thrusting them straight into Uncanny Valley. Thought number six, this is just the beginning. The metaverse is an ongoing experiment that will adapt and improve over time based on the demands of the market. Nobody really knows how it's supposed to work because it's new territory. There is no blueprint, so that makes all of this more an archaeological process than an architectural one. Having said all that, I'm not here to defend the metaverse. I try to be impartial with these videos, although I do skew optimistic. That's just me. So it's really good that there are people watching the metaverse with a cynical eye. I think the skepticism is vital to the success of the metaverse because it will drive innovation. There are a lot of people who have a lot to prove, especially Mark Zuckerberg, who bet the future of Meta on this idea. And finally, I welcome you to disagree in the comments. I appreciate the discussion from both the fans and the critics of the metaverse. I just say to the critics that everything has to start somewhere. Just look at the production quality of the top YouTube videos in 2007 versus the highly polished productions of the top creators today. So, whether you're for the metaverse or against it, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.